Now, I'm gonna be honest with you all, I really and truly didn't want to talk about this on this channel because I think that me feeding into this is part of the problem, but I think there's enough chatter around the name of Bronny James that it does warrant some type of attention. So for those who do not know, LeBron has a son. His son, Bronny James, is entering the NBA draft this year. And as we get closer and closer to the draft, of course, there's gonna be conversation about who's gonna draft Bronny and where he's at and da-da-da-da. And the level of media attention that he's receiving, you would have sworn that this man was projected to be a top 10 pick, a number one. But no. Anyone who's been watching Bronny with any type of unbiased eye has reported repeatedly he's not a lottery pick. He may not even be a first round pick. Matter of fact, there may be some scouts in the NBA who would tell their front offices to not even draft him.
Mark, you were just in Chicago for the Combine. Yeah. What are the scouts saying about Bronny?
Well, they wanted to reserve judgment until they saw him. They did see he was listed as 6'1", and they did see he had a 40.5 vert. But I was like, what would you do right now before he goes and plays? What would you do? And they said, we wouldn't draft him. Both of them said they would not draft him. I said, okay, let me give him a couple days. Let's see what happens after they watch him play. Now, this is their take after watching him play. Scout 1. I still don't think he's ready, but he did some good things. He's on the smaller side, so he's going to have to be elite on defense. You can see he has good vision, makes right passes, takes good shots. He's probably going to need more time. If the Lakers don't draft him, I don't see anyone drafting him. Teams would want him on a two-way, and I don't think Clutch would want that. It gets a little tougher. The other scout I talked to, positional athlete, doesn't function as an elite athlete. Tweener stuck between two positions. Should be a point guard based on his size, but he can't run an offense. He's handicapped as an undersized shooting guard because he can't shoot. 0-4 on threes on one day, 1 for 3 the other day. Needs screens to create space, and his only scoring came on paint touch floaters and can only go left. His strength is supposed to be defensively, but he's a switch matchup. Every bigger player who switched on him scored. He's a poor man's Davion Mitchell. He is not an NBA prospect, in my opinion. Not my words of two veteran NBA scouts.
Look, you have to commend his professionalism because when they asked him the questions, he answered almost perfectly. Yeah. I saw him work out, and he was shooting the ball well. He had the 40-inch vertical. So in some fairness, he did himself some credit coming from college where he didn't have the numbers showing up in the Combine. But I do like the comp because Davion Mitchell's what he said.
He said a poor man's Davion.
But still, at least Bronny understands that that is the goal. Davion Mitchell, Drew Holiday, Derek White, that is the goal, and I respect him for that.
But they did say, what is the rush?
I mean, it's his
choice. Look, Davion Mitchell was a lottery pick, okay?
Yeah.
And he's a very good defensive player.
Now, before we even get into what they're trying to discuss, 2 scouts were outlining this man. We're talking about a young man who at best was a poor man, Davion Mitchell. Someone who can't shoot, needs screens, is a tweener, but doesn't have the height or size to really play in between, can't organize an offense. Respectfully, this sounds like someone who, genuinely speaking, might not be in the NBA. Now, why exactly is all this important? For starters, as a Laker fan, the fact that I just heard the idea of like, well, if the Lakers don't draft him, really nobody would. For those who are wondering why would the Lakers draft him, of course, LeBron, free agent, if they sign his son, that would incentivize him to stay. I think that would be ridiculous. But I want you all to listen on how they're coping for this man and what Kendrick Perkins needed to say to step in to stop this ridiculousness, because I have never, and I want to be clear, I don't even really watch like college players. I don't really watch the draft. I don't really watch Combine. I am nowhere near close to an avid watcher of non-professional NBA basketball. I am nowhere near close to that. But from everything that I've heard, and even some things that I've watched, Bronny just doesn't like he's ready. He had a medical issue in the middle of his year, got stuck. But I want people to really understand and listen on how they're about to cover what was just told to them.
We have to stop as the media and everybody else shining the light on Bronny, because it's other players that are deserve our attention, right? The lottery guys, the guys that are actually that are going to get drafted in the first round. Like, we're talking about a guy, a young man that's possibly going to go late second round or not getting drafted at all. I've never, in my 4 years of working here, I've never sat on the table where we're talking about a second round pick.
But this is LeBron James' son, and that is a legitimate storyline that one of the greatest of all times has a son trying to play in the NBA.
And that right there is why ESPN and a lot of these talk shows are going to shit. I mean, my goodness, how blatant can you be? You are literally openly talking about the reason why we're discussing it isn't because of his skill, but because he's the son of a man on a team that you all have been milking. Y'all been milking this nigga LeBron for 20 years. And you gotta just keep fucking milking the cash cow, even if it means projecting his son and building up his son just so you sick fucks can tear this nigga down for another 5 more years. Because that's all this is. And the fact that you're this blatant about it is ridiculous. The man that was just outlined is someone who might not be in the NBA, might not even be an NBA player. But as Kendrick Perkins said, and I agree with him, bro, I have never, ever seen this much attention given to a non-NBA prospect potentially. The only reason why we're talking about him and he's getting so much coverage is because of his last name. And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro, that sucks, bro. That sucks for Bronny, because he's genuinely trying to figure it out in the world as a young man, trying to build a professional career. And the fact that he is given potentially an unfair advantage for him and others as well, because there are other people who should be getting a light shine on them. We should be talking about them. But now I have to sit here and talk. Bro, Bronny's getting talked about as if like he's going to be the number 1 overall pick, as if like he's a lottery pick. We're talking about someone who might not even be drafted. That's never happened. And you have ESPN analysts openly saying that the reason why we're covering him is because who his father is, and it's a great storyline. And y'all really wonder why ratings are down. This will be the same network that will sit there and try to figure out, why don't we have a new face of the NBA? Because you do shit like this. This is what you do. You be sitting here trying to figure like, man, why don't we have anybody who can be the face of the NBA? It's because all of the other niggas who sat there, got drafted, worked in their game, craft, got better, you all didn't give a fuck about them. You didn't care. So now you're about to do it for a whole nother round. We're sitting here talking about Bronny. I don't know dick about anybody else in this draft. I don't know nothing. I don't know not a thing about anyone else. Nothing. I know zero, zilch, nada, nothing. How is that possible? And you then ask, oh, well, why are the ratings down? Because instead of propping up potential stars, prospects who actually will get drafted, you're spending segments talking about effectively an extension of LeBron James, who's about to be retired in the next 5 years. So instead of propping up potentially the star that's in this draft, who will be the next whatever in the next 5 years, you're now continuing to milk the LeBron cow. Shameless. Just fucking shameless.
Bronny credit for actually trying to say the right things, and showing up in the right places. And at the end of the day,
and by the way, I like seeing LeBron in the stands as a proud dad. I like that. That's a great example from fatherhood.
He's the #1 scorer in NBA history.
What does that have to do with his son being at the draft
Scottie
combine?
Pippen's kid was playing on the Lakers.
We didn't shine the light on Scottie Pippen's son like this. We can't move the goalposts and feel like we go do it when it's convenient for us.
When we say Nepo baby, that means that you have the same career, parents to child. And so for those
somebody's a Hollywood producer, their son or daughter gets a job.
But if he has the same dreams and he does get a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, this is the guy who has, but can we talk about this, y'all? This is a guy that who's given his life to the game, LeBron James. And if the byproduct is that Bronny gets a little bit of a nod,
maybe there is though.
Maybe that's okay.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. That is the most sickening shit I have ever heard. No, what you're saying is that you all benefit from it because you all continue to just talk about LeBron for as long as you possibly can before that nigga exits the league. And then what you'll realize is that most of these niggas on ESPN don't know what the fuck they talking about. More people will start to realize that, hey, these niggas on, if they ain't talking about Jordan or LeBron, they don't know anything. They don't know what they talking about. LeBron has dedicated his life to the NBA, and I appreciate that. That dedication should not extend to his son, who isn't a warranted candidate or justifiable candidate for an NBA position, because you know what that means? That means that there's another man who also is dedicating his life to the NBA who can't get in the league now. LeBron not the only one. His dedication has manifested to him being one of the greatest of all time, but dedicating your life, he ain't the only one. ESPN, get off your knees. Stand up. I know you want to stay down there and suck this nigga tit for the next 5 years so you can get all of the little LeBron juices as you can. I know that's what you want to do, but please take some integrity on how you coverage this. Take some integrity.
I would be happy about getting to the league instead of me thinking about playing with my dad. But that's like not my mindset right now at all. I'm just trying to put in the work and see where it takes me from there. I just want to, have people know my name is Bronny James and not being, identified as just LeBron James' son. I feel like that would be a great end goal.
That's so fucked up that man is trying to like be an NBA player, and instead of being an NBA player, instead of seeing him as an NBA player, all they do is see him as LeBron James' son. Instead of actually taking what he's doing as serious and being honest on who he is as a player, a prospect, a young man, instead of treating him the same way they treat everybody else, because in all honesty, this shit right here is a detriment to who he is actually supposed to be in life. It could be a detriment. I hope the best for that brother. But the fact that every single time he talks to the media, he's not talking as an NBA player. He's not talking about an NBA prospect. He is talking to the media. He is talking as LeBron James' son. That's a damn shame.
He's not ready for the NBA. I mean, let's call it like we see it. He should be playing basketball somewhere where he's got a chance to grow a little bit on a collegiate level, play some NCAA tournament games, play with some pressure. Nobody's ever seen him play with pressure. And I don't go with these draft combines. I mean, if I did that, I'd have 9 million guys in the NFL who look great in Indianapolis, who be Hall of Fame players and can't get out of their first year. To me, you hit it, the 6'1". I'm not going to comment about the McDonald's thing. I don't know enough about that, and I didn't see him play either. But the facts speak for themselves. He went to USC, which is not a dominant basketball program, in a bad conference, and I know he had a health scare, so we got to keep that in mind. He averaged 4 points a game. I mean, geez. And he's 18 years old, and now he's going to go play in the NBA?
I need to get back to my point, what Perk brought up. There were people who were questioning whether he deserved to be a McDonald's All-American as a high school player. And they were saying he got the nod because of his dad. When you have that as a backdrop, and then you have this coming up with what Doggy pointed out, with what you co-signed in terms of what I said, I'm telling you that level of momentum is what is going to rain down upon him. Now it's about now it's about what you got to show and prove.
And that right there to me is where things really get scary. Because to be fair, I don't watch enough high school basketball and college basketball to understand the ins and outs of some of the nuances and some of the politics that get played behind the scenes. Shout out to my brother Cinco. He talked about this because he was trying to get in the NBA. Really talented player and was on the verge of doing so quite a few times. I know a couple of other people, y'all know my affiliation with Players Choice, who are also close to being in the NBA. And when people say politics, I don't know anything about that because I'm naive enough to believe that it's all about, you going out there, you earning your position because of your skill set. And the fact that we are talking about nepotism at a level in which not only will impact him at the NBA level, but was potentially impacting him even in high school. That is very concerning. That does bring a level of concern that needs to be addressed. And that's something that should not continue going into this level of prestige in terms of athletic requirements. That is not only necessary, but something that is needing to be built off of to continue to stay in this league. Because I truly believe the NBA should be an environment that breeds excellence, not an environment that breeds nepotism. And I'll say this as well. I love Giannis. I love Giannis. His brother having a position on the Milwaukee Bucks, to me, is crazy. His brother should not have a spot on the Bucks. His brother should not. If they just want to pay this nigga just to be on the side, just pay him to be on the side. But taking up a roster spot in the NBA because your brother is the face of the franchise and he's one of the best players in the NBA and he leverages his skill, ability, and whatever else that he can leverage to sign contracts long term. And if you do this, and I'm gonna give you that. And again, I love Giannis, but that is not being talked about enough of what's going on in Milwaukee, especially from an organization that is short in roster spots and that needs an extra roster spot to potentially develop players that they need on that team. And so for us to even talk about this, and they talked about this routinely all throughout, Bronny only averaging 4 points in college. Bronny, for those who didn't know, had a cardiac arrest, had a cardiac scare that shortened his collegiate year last year, but averaged roughly 4 to 5 points, 2 to 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and shot 36% from the field. And also, Bronny knows that everything isn't guaranteed either, because Bronny not only declared for the NBA draft, but also entered the transfer portal. For those who don't know, when you enter the transfer portal, you not only have the flexibility to go into the draft, but you also keep your eligibility to just move to another team. It's almost like you're a free agent of all free agents when it comes to college players. But yes, the 19-year-old son of LeBron James announced Friday on his Instagram account that he plans to retain his college eligibility and will enter the transfer portal. So even he himself knows that there's a possibility that he won't be able to make it. So my question is, in a very serious and genuine matter, what's the rush? Hey, you had a very serious scare within your 1 year in college. take it easy. But yo, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. The NBA draft is like literally right around the corner. So what we're going to see. We're going to see if Bronny actually is going to be someone who's going to be selected and all of the narratives that will be surrounding it. And please understand, Bronny, you are entering that realm if you decide to go down this path. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.